You know, I just dropped off my last passenger for today, driving for Uber, and it got me to thinking on how much better I feel when I talk to people and being an extrovert instead of an introvert. I used to be an introvert where I didn't want anything to do with anybody, especially being a drug addict. You're not going to want to have anything to do with anyone except your dealer and maybe a couple of so-called friends. But I don't want to get into that. But anyway, I'm telling you, you have to talk to people. I mean, when I been through women a lot, I'm not talking about sleeping with them. I'm talking about the whole thing, you know, asking them out, going on dates and everything. And a lot of them turned out to be crap. And I admit that some of it was my fault where I let the, you know, I was only with her because of the way she looked. And, you know, this one girl that I was with was married 4 times. And then I figured out later on, it's like, oh yeah, those 4 guys married you for the way you look. I mean, she looked incredible, you know, she's beautiful black chick. She was about, I think I said in my other video, maybe, I don't know, 5'6", 120. But anyway, getting back to being an extrovert and talking to people no matter what. Like when I first joined the gym, I didn't want to talk to anyone because I just came off drugs and booze. This was years ago. And then later on, dealing with women and everything getting screwed up, I'm like, well, I just won't speaking to women unless spoken to or necessary. And then that ended a couple years later. And now I'm dealing with it again, where I'm like, okay, women, I'm not going to bother, you know. I'll wave to you if I did talk to you already, or if you work there, of course I'm going to be talking to you. You know, I do talk to a lot of women at the gym, but there's a couple that, you know, if I see that you're interested in me, I won't say anything. And I know you're not going to either, so that way it's perfectly fine with me. But, you know, it does sort of maybe sound childish. You know, because I'm always thinking, you know, okay, you're just looking to use a guy for what he can provide, and the first words out of your mouth are going to be, so what do you do? And I'm like, well, other girls ask you that too, and you just told them, and then you went about your day. You went on with your life. Whether she was interested in you as a potential date or just being friendly, who cares? But anyway, another thing, you know, when I was very young, I was about, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15, and there was a guy that lived a couple houses down. There was, you know, say I was 15. 14, 15, he was 16, 17. And at that young age, he bought a van, this blue van, and of course wasn't in that great a shape. He was only 16 years old or whatever. And he painted it darker blue, and to probably hide some of the imperfections. And it was a lousy job, of course, but he still did it at 16 years old. And then he made himself a pair of speakers. I couldn't believe it. And for those of you younger people out there, back then there was a thing called a stereo system, where you hook up your 2 speakers to your receiver, and then out of your receiver, that hooks into your cassette deck, your turntable, and then later on your CD player, and maybe a preamp. You know, there's subwoofer and stuff that came along much later. Well, I don't even know when it came out. 90s maybe? You know, and then for your TV, the bar, that thin speaker bar, whatever. But he made his own speakers, and this is back in the 70s. Or no, it was around 1980, actually. Yeah, right around 1980. But still, being at such a young age, and me, you know, seeing it and not really giving a damn, or seeing if I could do it, learn from him or something, or do anything. But there was, I'll get to it in a minute. This will translate into what happened, where I didn't give a shit because I was too busy getting stoned in my parents' basement listening to Van Halen. You know, there I am sitting in the chair, you know, with the headphones on and that pissed off, get away from me look. But then later on, I found out that he remodeled the basement in his parents' house. And so I told him, hey, you know, I'm sort of living in my parents' basement. You want to come over? And he came over, he checked it out. He goes, yeah, let's do it. And me and him did it, you know, 2x4s, paneling 2x4s. And he figured out that these pieces of like sheath cardboard wood into a door, like a, you know, like a barn door. It's got the rollers. He'd buy the rollers, and he'd put the thing up, and he could just put a handle on it, and that separated. You know, that was the door. Like to then there was the washer and dryer behind my room, and in the corner there was a sump pump. So we made it so there was a door in the corner and all that. And what was the other door too? Oh, the electrical, you know, the readings for the electric company, and you know, the pipes and stuff. They had to have a door there, and this other door to get back into this crawl space. But still, we did it, and you know, that's basically it. I mean, we stuff like that where, you know, some people mature faster than others, some don't. But it's all right, man, because sooner or later, something's gonna kick your ass and wake your ass up. Took a little later for me. You know why? You guessed it, because of booze and drugs. And that made me even more immature and stupid and say and do stupid shit. But, you know, and then along comes that saying, don't live in the past. Well, I'm not living in the past. I'm recognizing my mistakes and the stupid shit that brought me nowhere, and that friends back in the city I was born and raised in, one of the reasons I left is they're still doing that and never going anywhere. Must be the pollen and allergies. No, I don't still smoke weed. Did I tell you that that time I was golfing with my buddy Joe? Joe noticed that there was a guy behind us golfing by himself, and he said to me, you know, why don't we wait at the next hole, let this guy catch up, and then he can finish off the last 4 holes with us. I said, sure, no problem. The guy gets up, you know, goes to the next hole. We're talking. The next hole, we get ready to tee off, and the guy says to me and Joe, you guys indulge in some smoke? I said, no, thank you. And then Joe said, no, thank you. The guy went off into the woods. He comes back. He goes to tee off. The fairway was that way. He hit the ball. The ball went into the woods where he was smoking. That must have been some good stuff. So anyway, you know, don't feel bad if you feel like you're going to leave some so-called friends behind, because I have left many. Freeloaders, you know, just pieces of shit that when some other friends that didn't even know this guy, he goes, why are you hanging out with him? Why did you, you know, you can tell right off the bat he's a piece of shit. And he turned out that he was. He showed his true colors. And like most people do. But, you know, life is so short that you gotta avoid the bullshit and live. And, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. And at the same time, try to, I don't know what to tell you, try to save and invest, and then maybe use that investment, some of that investment, to buy a house, or house hack, which is like you buy a 4-apartment building and you live in one of the apartments, and those other 3 apartments are paying your rent and the mortgage. You got to figure it all out. You know, it's not that difficult. You figure out, and then you got like $100 to yourself or whatever to start out. You know, it's going to take a while, like everything in life. Sorry that I gotta keep moving my hand. Oh, that looks better there. I got that suction cup thing, but I forgot it, where I can put it up against the windshield, and then I won't have to touch anything. I'll try that next time when I'm on my way down to Charleston, maybe Saturday to kayak. Try and figure that out. Because I really would like to film my point of view of kayaking down this creek canal thing and then out into the ocean and underneath this bridge that separates the Isle of Palms from Sullivan's Island in Charleston, South Carolina, America. For those of you that are watching outside, if there's anybody that's not from America or Canada, United States of USA or Canada that's watching, shout out. Say, hey Tom, I'm from Germany. And whatever you want to say. But I'm telling you, you people that are younger than me, and I'm sure there's a lot out there that are watching, you gotta act on it. You gotta act on it now. You gotta put down the shit. You gotta get rid of the crap. You gotta get rid of the crap so-called friends, and you gotta fucking do it. I'm telling you. And live and learn from the mistakes you and a member of the opposite sex made. Or how you can tell right off the bat, you know, do I really need to get laid that bad? You know, I'm not that desperate. This girl, I can tell right off the bat, you are a complete piece of shit. You know, just do what you gotta do. You know, when I was young, I hated listening to older people, and now I'm like, I want to listen to older people because they got the experience. They've been here longer. And, you know, I'll still listen to younger people. There's a lot of younger people out on YouTube and stuff that are really mature, know their stuff, and it can help out, you know. I'm sure all of the guys, I got 10 YouTube videos open of guitar lessons from different people, and I'm sure every single one of those 10 are younger than me. You know, so that doesn't have to be. You know, this girl actually said this to me one time. She said, why are you listening to someone that's younger than you? I said, what? Why wouldn't I want to? Why should I listen to you? You know, once again, you know, people showing their true colors, what? You know, and I'm not going to get into it with anybody, you know, with her or anyone. I just ignored everything she said, whether it was a test, you know, the put down or whatever, stupid BS. I'm not dealing with it. I got more important things and places to put my time and energy than on you. And it's just ridiculous, you know, and I'll tell you, I do not regret not getting married and having kids. There goes the radar detector, and once again, I don't see any cop. Sometimes it's those doors on like convenience gas stations where you just walk up and the door opens automatically. That'll set up your right here. That will set off your radar detector, and so will railroad tracks. Blah blah blah. But you know, picking up all these different people for Uber and Lyft, and hearing all these different stories, and you know, and what's going on in their life, and some people actually help me, try to get me a job at different places, and I'm like, you know what? I'm at an age right now where I don't even care to get a job. This is helping paying the bills and the mortgage, and I'll figure stuff out for myself. If it has to come down to sell my house or whatever. And but you know, like I said, I know what to do and what not to do. You know, like for instance, a couple of times girls have gotten in and they were crying. And this one girl got into my truck with her suitcase. She was already crying, walking up to my truck, and then she cried all the way to the destination. I said to myself, I'm not even going to bother asking you what's going on in your life. And luckily, she didn't say a word. She just cried and sniffled and whatever. And then when she got out, some girl came out of the house to help her with her bags and stuff, and she kept crying. And I had an idea right then and there what was going on, and I didn't say anything and goodbye. That's basically it. And show respect for other people's property or anything, Whether you're in someone's house or on their property or in their vehicle, show some fucking respect, all right, people? Don't be lighting up your stupid vape without asking ahead of time, is it okay to smoke in here? Some people actually, I couldn't believe it, they asked, hey, is it all right if I eat in here? I'm starving, I just got this fast food. I said, yeah, go ahead, man. Just try not to make a mess. You can go ahead and eat and drink. Just be cool about it. And smoking, absolutely not. No smoking of any kind in my truck. And this one girl a couple days ago, she's throwing her luggage in the back. I mean, there's a bed liner, but still. Who the hell do you think you are? Of course I didn't say that. I go, please watch what you're doing. I don't remember what I said to her. And I just laughed a little bit to let her know, hey, everything's cool. And she had the nerve like, oh, that's fine. It's not no big deal, blah, blah, blah. She said that shit. And I just say, no, and I can't wait to drop you off, There's another thing where money's not that important. There's a thing right there where, the money was important and wasn't at the same time to deal with, And I'm not even going to say, I feel sorry for you guys that get married. I couldn't trust a woman in my house when I'm not there. And there's a perfect example. Of course, not all women are like that. Of course, just like not all men are like, the way some women think. I just dropped off a girl and I heard it all. She was younger, and I heard her in the backseat talking to her friend about these guys. The actor. I've heard of Michael B. Jordan. He was in one of the Rocky movies, and I guess those two were like talking about, what girls talk about, how the guy looks and everything. And then they were talking about some other guy because the girl said, oh, he's only 5'2". It's like I've heard that shit all over the place where, you want a guy that's 6'5", six-pack abs, at least 6 inches down below, at least six-figure salary, 600 horsepower car, and what do you bring to the table? An offer in return. I'm waiting. Crickets. Yawn. Hey. I'm sorry, did you say something? But, and it's a shame. Because I love women. I love going down on your bald snatch. I love waiting 8 hours for you to answer my text to let me know I'm not a priority. It's all good. I'll just let you know I don't give a shit in return. Or give a shit, period. That's why I don't bother with those girls at the gym. Wave, look away. And now that girl, when I look at her and she's already looking at me, she'll look away real quick. So whatever. Oh, gee, I'm hurt. That's the trainer. And that other girl, that blonde, you can tell she's freshly divorced and had kids. Actually, I saw her at Target with one of her kids. And I'm like, oh, right there is a red flag. I'm not dealing with you and your kids. And there was another one in one of the classes on Saturday mornings. And I saw her drive away, and she had that sticker on the back of her vehicle, soccer mom or some shit like that. And I'm like, I'll give you the time of day, but no way am I getting involved in some chick with kids. I have been with a lot of girls that have had kids. Half of them put out were all right. The other half was ridiculous games and back and forth. And I think my ex is following me or sent out someone to follow me. I can't kiss you goodbye because I think he sent somebody to follow me. And if they see me with another man, blah, 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 blah. Holy shit, man. I'm glad it ended peacefully and quietly and you're gone. I did want to bang her, but then there again, there's that little head through the thinking for the big head. Can't be anymore. There's no way that can be. Do not let the little head do the thinking for the big head. I'm telling you, man, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna love it. A lot of people, I'm sure they wouldn't want to deal with this. Driving for Uber and Lyft and people, sitting back there and getting it dirty a little bit and whatnot. I clean it up before, people might get their panties in a bunch. I actually, the morning before I leave, I clean it out a little bit. And when people are on the phone, I'll put the windows up. I put the AC on if it's ridiculously hot out, like it's gonna get like a month or two. That shit doesn't bother me. Respect is huge, but that doesn't mean you have to say sir and ma'am every single sentence or every single response. Say it when warranted. These people where I moved to, every single motherfucking response. Say, hey, is this 1150 Main Street? Yes, sir. Give me a break, man. All right? A police officer helped me out. Yes, sir. That's when it's warranted. I don't know why this got dark all of a sudden. It's still light out. It's still only 5 o'clock. And driving down the highway, man. Wow, how about that? But, yeah, hey, look at that. But there's life's wisdom, experience, and knowledge for you. Just keep kicking ass, looking out for number one. Looking out for number one means looking out for yourself. But that doesn't mean you got to be a prick. Just do what you got to do and keep looking around. Oh, and another thing. When you see an accident on the road and you're driving, don't be one of these rubbernecker jerks. Because it might be something to divert your attention while somebody else comes in. You understand what I'm saying? That's just an example. Anytime, anywhere, something happens and everybody's attention's diverted to that, that's when you got to watch your back. Well, you got to watch your back 24/7, but still, that's an especially when you got to watch your back. What's that? The video's getting a little too long? That's all right. I enjoy talking to you, 2 subscribers. Thank you, the both of you. I remember a guitar player said that one time. He was playing this small venue. He was like a blues rock guitarist. So he's playing a small bar venue. And there was only like 10 people there because apparently the Rolling Stones were playing the same night in town at some stadium. And after a couple of songs ended, when people were clapping, he said, thank you, the both of you. And so this is great, man. There's only 10 people here. This dude kicks ass. It was only like $10 for 2.5 hours of kick-ass guitar playing. And back in the 90s, that was, when I was always trying to get my friends to go. I was like, come on, man. It's a Friday or it's a Saturday. $10. Sometimes it was, I think it was $5 actually, or 10. But then it was $15 for the whole weekend. These 2 killer bands. I remember I stole the poster where it said that, Tinsley Ellis Friday and Savoy Brown Saturday, $15. And I'm like, I can't believe you guys don't want to go. This is like 3-4 hours of music. And these guys aren't making shit. And I'm like, I feel bad that they didn't buy I don't even think they had their CDs with them. Well, if they did, So I did feel bad. This one guy asked me if I bought CDs. And I said, no, I shouldn't have said it. I should have said, yeah. Looking back at it. Because I'm a musician too, but I'm not doing it. It's not my livelihood. I'm a guitar player. But, that's kind of cool that you can't see me right now, isn't it? But I'll try to, next Saturday when I go kayaking down there, that's showing that there's 19 people going right now. And the area where you park is like a really narrow dirt road where on one side is swamp and on the other side is a swamp, and in front of you is a creek and a bunch of dead oysters and these tiny little crabs that are running into their holes. And you gotta find a parking spot in there. After you drop your kayak off, you can barely turn around, and there's gonna be other kayakers in there to top it off with 18. Well, by the time it comes down to it, there's not gonna be 18 people, maybe about 11 or 10. I don't know, maybe, who knows? But that's another thing. Stepping in that mud and sinking in, and I'm going to have this thing with me. Well, see what happens. This stuff is tiring, and I only did it for like I was chasing the money. But it's not worth it. It isn't. Not this kind of occupation. Chasing. You know, it depends. Depends what's going on and all sorts of stuff. And I guess I'll see what's going on here. Just saying thanks to people that gave me a tip. I just seen somebody else gave me a tip, which is cool, because you know you're not going to get a tip every time, no matter how much you talk to people and be cool, things in common, etc. People just aren't going to leave you a tip. It is what it is, you know, and I'm not going to cry about it. You know, picking up and dropping off people at the airport, usually you do. You know, if it's a long drive or stuff. And just like I said, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. Be kind. And if someone's a jerk, that happened only one time in the 6 years I've been driving for Uber and Lyft. One time when I was about a year into it, this girl was drunk. And she started giving me a problem that I'm from the Northeast and she's from the Southeast. I just ignored her, of course. And she finally shut up and dropped her off and didn't say anything. You know, good riddance. I don't care about your living in the past, living in the Civil War bullshit. I don't care. And everybody in the Northeast doesn't care either about you calling them Yankee. It's meaningless. Like a lot of things in life that people think are important. But I'm getting off at my exit here, and I want to watch this video. Continue watching this video. It's half through on YouTube. Casual items every man over 50 needs to look wealthy by Modern Gentleman channel, which I rarely ever watch. And I watched half of it already, and I was going to subscribe right there because I like that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of people are thinking, you know, what is that, the gay channel? You know, and I told some friends, I said, you should check out some of these channels. They said, well, what are those, gay? I said, you know what, never mind. You know what, if I told you I use moisturizer on my face, you'd probably call me gay too, wouldn't you? I say, I don't care, all right? I learn, I got this free knowledge, especially that Alpha M guy. Shout out to him, he turned me on to these this clothing line called Public Rec, R-E-C. And they're a little more expensive, but it's worth it. Because the clothes are stretchy, which I like. But they also cling to you at the same time, so it's not a baggy fit. Public Rec. You know, it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? $88 for a pair of jogging pants? It's like, hey, they're good quality. That's what it is these days. I mean, you people are paying $150 for a pair of sneakers, right? So what's $80 for a pair of $88 for a pair of jogging shorts? You know, a pair of jeans, $30, $35 is nothing, and they're decent jeans. But you know, spend what you want. I'm not telling you to go do it. You do what's best for you. You look the way you think is best for you. You smell the way you think is best for you. You know, I spray the heck out of myself with cologne. I got it right over here in the door. Every now and then I'll spray it. I got mouthwash. You know, I don't want people that I'm picking up. You know, this is business. This is business. I don't want them picking up. It's like, oh, Jesus, and then they complain that Uber driver stunk. You know, but it's usually right after the gym or all day long before I go to the gym. So I'm not going to be stinking. But I'm just going to go over these railroad tracks, and then that's going to be it. Because there's a green light right after the tracks, which I just went over. That's going to turn blue, and there's the country club, and they're teeing off. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Thanks for watching. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'll keep the videos coming, the good insight, the positive mindset. no matter what. I mean, look at me. I'm only 5'7". I don't have a big penis. I don't have a decent looking face. But you know what? I'm living. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna commit suicide over it? Or most, if not all of it, is not my fault. Right? Alright, hold on. I just want to see if there's any people teeing off over here. Come around here, and then it should be right there. There they are, right there. Shit, here comes the ball. Damn! How could there not be netting there? These guys must not slice. Alright, later.